hold on, buckle up. This conversation could get a little crazy. So you've probably seen the news by now that 6 former eBay employees were charged with aggressive cyber stalking and some other crimes against a very well-known e-commerce blogger. I think everybody has probably figured out who it is by now, but for some reason none of us are saying the name. And so until I know why that is, I'm not going to say the name either. But you can pretty much figure out who it is. I'm just going to read you a little bit directly from the Department of Justice publicity release. I was trying to keep myself out of trouble by saying something I shouldn't. Ironic, huh? So, yes. 6 former eBay employees charged with aggressive cyber stalking campaign targeting Natick couple, Natick, Massachusetts. So this is out of Boston. 6 former employees of eBay Inc. have been charged with leading a cyber stalking campaign targeting the editor and publisher of a newsletter that eBay executives viewed as critical of the company. They're a husband and wife. I'll just say, I'm going to inject some things in here. So the alleged harassment, because everybody is innocent until proven guilty, but the alleged harassment included sending the couple anonymous threatening messages, disturbing deliveries, including a box of live cockroaches, a funeral wreath, and a bloody pig mask, and conducting covert surveillance of the victims. So these employees were James Baugh, who was the former director, they're all former now, but he was the senior director of safety and security. David Harville, who was eBay's former director of global resiliency. Let's see who else we have. We have Stephanie Pop, who was the former senior manager of global intelligence. Stephanie Stockwell, who was the former manager of eBay's Global Intelligence Center, and Veronica Z, who is the former eBay contractor who worked as an intelligence analyst in the Global Intelligence Center, and Brian Gilbert, who is a former senior manager of special operations for eBay's global security team. They are each charged with conspiracy to commit cyber stalking and conspiracy to tamper with witnesses, and will make appearances in federal court in Boston at a later date. According to the charging documents, which I will link down in the description for your reading pleasure, maybe not so pleasure. It's a long read, but man oh man, is it a juicy read. According to the charging documents, the victims of the cyber stalking campaign were a Natick couple who are the editor and publisher of an online newsletter that covers e-commerce companies, including eBay, a multinational e-commerce business that offers platforms for consumer-to-consumer and business-to-consumer transactions. Members of the executive leadership team at eBay followed the newsletter's posts, often taking issue with its content and the anonymous comments underneath the editor's stories. It is alleged that in August 2019, after the newsletter published an article about litigation involving eBay, 2 members of eBay's executive leadership team sent or forwarded text messages suggesting that it was time to take down the newsletter's editor. There was a 3-part harassment campaign which did all of the ordering of the anonymous items. This was like some really gross stuff, you guys. The bloody pig head, live cockroaches, fly larvae. They sent pornographic materials to neighbors' addresses, but in this couple's names. A book about how to survive the death of your spouse. Really disturbing stuff. The second phase was Twitter messages, private Twitter messages with threatening tones and public tweets that were threatening now to visit the victims and cause issues. They planned, these 6 employees planned these messages to become increasingly disturbing, culminating with doxing the victims, publishing their home address. It is alleged that the very same group intended then to have Gilbert, a former Santa Clara police captain, approach the victims with an offer to help stop the harassment that the defendants were secretly causing in an effort to promote goodwill towards eBay, generate more favorable coverage in the newsletter, and identify the individuals behind the anonymous comments. That's some sick, twisted, devious stuff there. All right. I got my 2 cents to add to this. Just stay tuned. The third phase of the campaign allegedly involved covertly surveilling the victims in their home and community. According to the complaint, Harville and Zay, or Z, I will call her Zay, registered for a software development conference to explain their trip to Boston on August 15th, 2019. Baugh, Harville, and Zay, and later Pop, allegedly drove to the victim's home in Natick several times, with Harville and Baugh intending at one point to break into the victim's garage and install a GPS tracking device on their car. As protection, in the event they were stopped by local police, Baugh and Harville allegedly carried false documents purporting to show that they were investigating the victims as persons of interest who had threatened eBay executives. The victims spotted the surveillance, however, and notified the Natick police, who began to investigate. The police learned that Zay had rented one of the cars used by the defendants and reached out to eBay for assistance. Aware that the police were investigating, the defendants allegedly sought to interfere with the investigation by now lying to the police about eBay's involvement while pretending to offer the company's assistance with the harassment, as well as by lying to eBay's lawyers about their involvement. At one point, for example, Baugh, Gilbert, Pop, and Stockwell allegedly plotted to fabricate another eBay person of interest document that could be offered to the police as a lead on some of the harassing deliveries. As the police and eBay's lawyers continued to investigate, the defendants allegedly deleted digital evidence that showed their involvement, further obstructing what had by then become a federal investigation. I'm still like, this is like reading a real crime fiction novel. This is crazy. The charges of conspiracy to commit cyberstalking and conspiracy to tamper with witnesses each carry a sentence of up to 5 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, a fine of up to $250,000, and restitution. Sentences are imposed by a federal district court judge based upon the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. U.S. Attorney Andrew E. Lelling, Joseph R. blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we don't need to know about all this. All these attorneys, including financial and cyber fraud units, are prosecuting the case. These people are hosed, let's face it. The details contained in charging documents are allegations. The defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. Got to throw that in there. Legal mumbo jumbo, but there you go. Now, they named Executive 1 and Executive 2. Now, that has come out to be confirmed to be Executive 1, Devin Wenning. Executive 2 was, where's my notes? Executive 2 is the PR chief, Stephen Weimer, or former PR chief, Stephen Weimer. There are text messages between Devin and Weimer talking about taking this woman down. This pretty much came from the top. Still don't know why. I don't know why Devin hasn't been charged. I'm pretty disgusted. Pretty disgusted. I have a bit of a history with eBay that goes back, decades. I started in 1998 on the site. It became truly a way of life for me. I turned my own passion of buying and selling into teaching others and helping others through a lot of the changes and difficulties that have happened over the years. I have been one of the outspoken ones when I didn't agree with things that eBay had done, and I did suffer repercussions from that. I feel that I was discriminated against, that I was blacklisted from events, and while eBay was choosing other influencers in the community to promote and raise up, they were pushing me aside. I was told I was no longer welcome to post on the eBay radio community board. I was no longer invited to be a guest on eBay radio. There was a major bully out there who made it his mission to try to destroy my reputation and my business. And he's still out there. He's probably going to watch this and give me a thumbs down. But so for me, this is really has become really personal, because a lot of it's making sense now as to why I was ignored. I went to executives. I went to some top names with my concerns. Now, many of those employees are no longer there, but a few of them are still in the company. So I have concerns. I have concerns about making this video. And, but it is what it is. Coming out of a domestic violence situation myself, I am no longer willing to stay silent. I am no longer willing to not be a voice for fear of repercussions. I'm going to kind of let God take the wheel on that, and I'm going to stay strong, and I'm going to be out there. And I always considered myself a voice for the small seller. I would take concerns and questions and issues from the people who were following me and posting in my group and within the membership that I used to have, and I would take those and try to be that voice and try to get some change to happen and to get us some help. And I took some time off after my divorce, and I've come back into this not expecting any help from eBay now, because I didn't get it before, I didn't expect it now, as far as getting my voice out there. But I am encouraged now. I feel like with this happening, this explains a lot. It also, because I was looking at old emails today where my concerns had been forwarded to the securities department. Well, there you go. They didn't like people who spoke out against eBay. So I've always tried to remain professional. I've always tried to remain in a problem-solving mode, but the culture apparently under Devin was that was a bad thing. They didn't want anybody talking bad about eBay and tried to squish that. So I don't want to make this too long, but eBay, through all of this, created a couple monsters out there. One in particular that has affected my life. eBay gave this person a lot of power and a lot of promotion, and so they have a pretty big group of followers willing to follow suit. So this whole thing, it did kind of open up some old wounds for me, and it's been a little hard. I made the decision last fall that I was going to get back into helping others and to get out and be in the public eye again, and use what I know to make the best of their eBay business. I have the philosophy that eBay is now, it's my business to sell on eBay. I no longer have like this feeling that, you know, eBay and I are in a relationship like I used to. You know, there was this community thing that used to be part of being on eBay. You know, my house was eBay decorated, you know, eBay colors. I think I have every eBay souvenir and pin, and you know, I didn't go to every eBay event because I was afraid of large crowds when the eBay lives were happening. But eBay on locations, when those started, I was on one of the first seller panels for an eBay on location, and really, eBay was just, it was just everything to me. And Jordan Sweetnam, who I was on a call with about 70, I'd say about 70 sellers were on this call. And one of the things he said, you know, this anger and sense of betrayal that I'm feeling, you might be feeling, is also being felt by the employees that are now there. This has been crazy, shocking. Like, I mean, eBay handled it correctly. They got rid of these, obviously they got rid of these 6 people, and ultimately got rid of Devin, although there's a lot of questionings of why did Devin get to walk away with a $57 million severance package. You know, it was a big hit for me to find out Devin was involved in this, because when Devin started at eBay, I had opportunity to personally interview and spend time with him. And I really was hopeful that, I used to say, Devin's our guy, he's got our back, at a time when you had John Donahoe pretty much dismissing the small seller. And so Devin was coming in and seemed to really be interested in the small seller and helping us, and I was very hopeful. And so this is just, it's hard. It's shocking. You know, it's betrayal. And for somebody who's had a lot of betrayal in their life, it's, yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Jordan has reassured us that we are allowed to criticize eBay, but it needs to be done in a way that's not attacking, it's not personal against any of the employees, which, yeah, I agree. I've never done that. And I would encourage you not to do that. The way to make change and to have our voices heard is to be professional. And here's what I would say to you. Be the CEO of your company. Be a professional executive in your own company, no matter how big or small. We have to be adults and keep it on a human level to get things resolved. So I totally agree with him on that. They will ignore attacks. If you go into any of these groups or chat boards and start attacking, you're not going to get listened to. Come on. I totally agree with him on that. So with Jordan coming back, his job has been to rebuild seller communication, and I think he's doing a fantastic job with that. Jordan is very reachable. He is in the Niche to Profit Facebook group, which is linked down in my description if you want to come join. He listens, and he encourages the other eBay employees to listen as well, although he says they're a little squeamish because some of you aren't very nice. He did acknowledge that eBay does have the capability to demote sellers, to make it so their listings don't show up. But he says that is not being done except on a performance level. So if you are getting defect after defect and having problems, yeah, your listings are going to get demoted. So let's see. They answered many questions. Why has the new CEO been silent? The new CEO, Jamie, has not come out publicly yet and addressed the sellers, hasn't addressed anything. And rightly so. I mean, oh, come on. You show this guy a little grace. He comes on in the midst of, like, one of the biggest scandals of all time with eBay. He's getting up to speed. He's learning what he needs to learn. And he will be out there talking to us soon, we are assured. Jordan has great faith in Jamie that, you know, he doesn't have that attitude of, you know, small sellers are disposable. So there's a lot of stuff that has transpired for not just myself, but other YouTubers. You know, this monster that eBay created has caused a lot of havoc. Some lawsuits have been, be careful, I have to say the right words. A lawsuit was won against them. Yeah, I'll link that down in the description too if you want to go read the facts. Stay very fact-based. Jordan's answer to that was that he can't go back and fix what's happened in the past. But he's okay with being made aware of it and to help prevent these things from happening in the future. You guys, this has shaken eBay to the core. It has shaken many sellers to the core. Those of us who have had like this greater involvement within the eBay community, this is heavy stuff. This is heavy stuff. And like, how do we trust going forward? How do we trust? Like I said, I have been nervous about making this video, and probably I will be editing a bunch of things that I'm saying before I get to this final cut. Because not that I don't want to speak my mind and say it all, but I want to really be careful that I am doing it in a way that has some positive effect. I mean, I still think eBay's the best game in town, you know, for those of us who sell antiques, collectibles, unique items. There is no other venue that comes close, and I sell on them all, okay? Anyway, we're heading into the 25th anniversary of eBay, and there is going to be a celebration for that. It's going to be virtual. But I have really great hope for the future, and I look forward to not just growing my own eBay business, but helping you grow yours. And as I say at the end of every single one of my videos, it's all about being profitable and making it fun. That's my niche. That's who I want to encourage and watch the channel and subscribe and get more of that encouragement if you are so inclined to do so. Because yeah, life's too short not to have fun and make a good living at it. So thank you guys for hearing me out, and with that, go be profitable. Make it fun. See you on the next one.